The red star was dying. It had been dying for thousands of years, slowly burning out in the cold darkness of space. Around this dying star, a research station floated quietly in its orbit. The station was called Meridian's Edge, and it belonged to a race called the Zlani. Dr. HFY stood in the main observation deck, watching the star through the thick protective glass. His skin was pale blue and smooth, and his large eyes could see things that most other creatures could not. Like all Zlani, he was tall and thin, with long fingers that moved quickly across the control panels. "The atmospheric readings are perfect today," said his assistant, Dr. Kelena. She moved to stand beside him, her own pale hands holding a data tablet. "The star's gas clouds are giving us exactly what we need for our research." HFY nodded slowly. The Zlani were peaceful people who loved to study and learn. They had built this station far from their home world to study how stars died. It was important work, but it was also dangerous work. This part of space was far from any military protection. "Sir," called another voice from across the room. It was Communications Officer Xenos, and his voice sounded worried. "I'm getting strange readings on the long-range sensors." HFY turned quickly. "What kind of readings?" "Ships, sir. Big ones. They just came out of hyperspace near the fourth planet." The doctor felt his stomach drop. Ships this far out usually meant only one thing: pirates. And not just any pirates. If they were big ships, they were probably Cora Syndicate. "How many ships?" HFY asked, trying to keep his voice calm. 5 large cruisers, sir. And maybe 10 smaller vessels." Xenos' hands shook as he worked his controls. "Sir, they're heading straight for us." HFY closed his eyes for a moment. The Korath were the worst kind of pirates. They didn't just steal things, they took people as slaves. They destroyed everything they couldn't take. And they enjoyed hurting others. "Sound the alarm," HFY ordered. "All staff to emergency stations. Activate the defense shields." Red lights began flashing throughout the station. A warning sound echoed through the corridors. The Zlani research staff, scientists, doctors, engineers, all tried to reach safe areas. But they all knew the truth. Their research station had only basic shields and no weapons. It was built for studying, not fighting. "Sir, they're trying to contact us," Xenos reported. "Put them through," HFY said. The main screen flickered to life. A huge, ugly face appeared. The Korath were big creatures with rough, dark skin and small, cruel eyes. This one had scars across his face and metal teeth. "Zlani Research Station," the Korath said in a rough voice. "I am Captain Gexmore of the Korath Warfleet. You will surrender immediately. Lower your shields and prepare to be boarded." "We are a scientific station," HFY replied, trying to sound brave. "We have no military value. Please, just leave us alone." The Korath captain laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "You have technology. You have educated slaves. You have value. You have 30 seconds to surrender, or we will take your station by force." The screen went dark. "Sir, what do we do?" asked Dr. Kelena. Her voice was full of fear. HFY looked around the control room. 23 Zlani research staff looked back at him. They were scientists, not soldiers. Their security team had 6 guards with stun weapons, devices made to stop riots, not to fight space pirates. "Xenos, send a distress call on all emergency frequencies," HFY ordered. "Wide spectrum broadcast. Tell anyone listening what's happening here." "Yes, sir." The communications officer's fingers flew over his controls. "Sir, no one ever answers distress calls this far out. We're too far from any government space." "I know," HFY said quietly. "But we have to try." Through the observation windows, they could see the Korath fleet getting closer. The enemy ships were huge and dark, covered with weapons. They looked like metal beasts coming to feed. "Distress call sent on all frequencies, sir," Dexry reported, giving our location and situation. "Good." Veshai turned to his assistant. "Kelena, start the emergency data wipe. Destroy all our research files. Don't let them have our work." "Sir, that's years of research." "Do it," he said firmly. "If we survive this, we can start again. If we don't, at least they won't profit from our knowledge." The Korath ships opened fire. Red energy beams hit the station shields. The lights flickered, and the floor shook under their feet. "Shields at 60% and falling," called Chief Engineer Mexstar from his station. Another wave of weapons fire hit them. The shield generators screamed as they tried to absorb the energy. "Shields at 30%. Veshai grabbed the communications panel. "This is Dr. Veshai of Zelani Research Station Meridian's Edge. We are under attack by Korath pirates. Our position is—" He quickly gave their exact location. "We have 23 civilian researchers aboard. We have no military weapons. Anyone receiving this message, please help us." The shields failed with a loud crash of breaking machinery. The next wave of weapons fire hit the station directly. The lights went out for a moment, then came back on dim and red. "They're launching boarding pods," someone shouted. Through the windows, Veshai could see small ships flying toward them like angry insects. The boarding pods were designed to crash through the station's hull and let the pirates inside. "All staff to secured areas," Veshai broadcast over the station speakers. "Lock all doors. Hide if you can." The first boarding pod hit the station with a terrible crash. The second and third followed quickly. Veshai heard the sound of cutting tools as the pirates burned through the hull. "Sir, they've broken through sections C and F," reported Mexstar. "The security team is trying to stop them, but—" An explosion echoed through the station. Then screaming. "Security team is down," Mexstar said quietly. "The pirates are moving through the station." Veshai looked at his remaining staff. Their large eyes were wide with terror. These were people who had devoted their lives to learning and discovery. Now they would probably become slaves or worse. "Dexry, keep broadcasting our situation," Veshai ordered. "Even if no one can help, maybe someone will remember what happened here." Another explosion, closer this time. The sound of heavy boots in the corridors. Rough voices shouting in the Korath language. Dr. Kelena took Veshai's hand. "Sir, it has been an honor to work with you." "The honor was mine," he replied. The door to their control room shook as something heavy hit it from outside. Then the sound of cutting tools. The pirates were burning through their last barrier. "This is Dr. Veshai," he said into the communications panel one last time. "The Korath aboard our station. They are breaking into our control room now. If anyone receives this message, please remember us. Please remember that we tried to learn, to understand the universe. We meant no harm to anyone." The door burst open in a shower of sparks and smoke. Large, dark shapes pushed through. The Korath pirates had arrived. Captain Sarah Chun sat in the command chair of the UES Phantom's Edge, watching the readings on her tactical display. The human stealth frigate moved silently through space, its advanced camouflage systems making it nearly invisible. "Captain, call Communications Officer Martinez from his station. I'm picking up something on the emergency frequencies. It's a distress call." Chun turned toward him. "From where?" "Unknown species, Captain. The computer is running translation protocols now." Martinez worked quickly at his controls. "Signal is coming from the Kepler 438 system, about 3 hours away at maximum speed." "That's outside the patrol zone," said Commander Williams, Chine's second in command. He was a big man with gray hair and old scars on his hands. "We're not supposed to get involved in alien conflicts." "Let me hear it," Chun ordered. The ship's MI had finished translating the message. A calm but frightened voice filled the bridge. This is Dr. Veshai of Zelani Research Station, Meridian's Edge. We are under attack by Korath pirates. Our position is coordinates 127.4 by 65.8. We have 23 civilian researchers aboard. We have no military weapons. Anyone receiving this message, please help us. The message repeated several times, then changed to a more desperate tone. The Korath have boarded our station. They are breaking into our control room now. If anyone receives this message, please remember us. Then silence. Chun stared at the communications display. The bridge was quiet. A crew of 60 included some of the best people in the human space fleet. They had been on a reconnaissance mission, gathering information about this sector of space. It was supposed to be a quiet, boring assignment. "Ma'am," said Lieutenant Commander Torres, the Marine officer. "My people are ready for deployment if needed." Torres was shorter than Williams, but twice as dangerous. His Marines were the ship's rapid response force, 30 soldiers trained for the worst situations. "Sir," Martinez spoke up again. "There's more. The computer has identified the attackers. Korath Syndicate. They're in our database." Chun's eyes narrowed. "Show me." The main screen lit up with information. Pictures of Korath ships, reports of attacks, lists of crimes. The Korath Syndicate was responsible for raids on 17 human colony ships in the past 2 years. They took prisoners as slaves and sold them in the Outer Rim markets. "They've hit our people before," Williams said quietly. 37 human colonists are still missing from their attacks, Torres added. "Intelligence thinks they're being held in slave camps." Chun studied the information. The Korath were dangerous, but they were also predictable. They relied on fear and overwhelming force. They attacked civilian targets because they were easy. But they had probably never fought humans before. "What do we know about the victims?" Chun asked. "Zelani," replied Martinez, reading from his screen. "Peaceful research species. Advanced technology, but no military. They explore and study things. Never been in a war. How many Korath ships?" asked Chun. "Based on the transmission analysis, probably 5 heavy cruisers and multiple support vessels," said the ship's HFY in its calm, electronic voice. Commander Williams shook his head. "That's a full battle fleet, Captain. We're one ship." "Yes," Chun said slowly. "But we're not just any ship." The Phantom's Edge was humanity's newest stealth frigate. It carried experimental technology that most species had never seen. Its weapons were designed to punch through armor that should be impossible to penetrate. Its sensors could see through interference that blinded other ships. And its Marines were trained to fight in conditions that would kill most alien soldiers. "Captain," Torres said, "the Korath have a reputation for executing prisoners when they're threatened. If we attack, they might kill the civilians." "Not if we do it right," Chun replied. "How long since that last transmission?" 3 hours, 14 minutes, Martinez answered. Chun closed her eyes and thought. By now, the Korath would have secured the research station. They would be cataloging their prisoners and preparing them for transport. It was what they always did. But they would also be relaxed, thinking they were safe in the Outer Rim where no military force could reach them. "Mr. Martinez, what's the tactical situation in that system?" "It's built around a dying red star, Captain. Lots of electromagnetic interference. Gas clouds from stellar wind. Sensors would have trouble working there." "Perfect." Chun turned to Torres. "How fast can your people be ready for an assault operation?" "My Marines are always ready, Captain." Torres smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "What did you have in mind?" "The Korath think they're safe because we're too far away. They don't know we're here. They don't know what human military technology can do." Chun stood up from her command chair. Mr. Williams, plot a course for the Kepler 438 system. Maximum stealth approach. Captain, Williams said carefully, this violates at least 6 different non-interference protocols. Command will not be happy. Command can file a complaint after we save those civilians, Chun replied. And after we show the Kara Syndicate what happens when they attack innocent people. Yes, ma'am. Williams began entering navigation commands. Chun turned to Torres. I want your people ready for a multi-target boarding operation. We're gonna hit them before they know what's happening. Understood, Captain. What about the gas clouds around that star? They'll interfere with normal sensors, not ours. Chun smiled. Our sensors are designed to work in conditions that would blind other ships. The gas clouds will actually help us. We can hide in them while we approach. Ma'am, Martinez called out. I'm detecting more Korath transmissions from that system. They're coordinating the looting operation. Sounds like they're planning to finish up and leave in about 8 hours. Then we have 8 hours to get there and stop them. Chum sat back down in her command chair. Mr. Williams, how long to reach the system? At maximum stealth speed, 6 hours and 47 minutes. Do it. The ship's engines hum to life, pushing them toward the distant star system. Chun watched the stars shift on the main screen as they changed course. Captain, Torres said, the Korath outnumber us 5-1. Maybe more. Numbers don't always matter, Lieutenant Commander. Sometimes it's about who's willing to fight harder. And sometimes it's about who has the better technology. Chun looked at her crew. The Korath attack civilians because they think civilians are easy targets. They're about to learn that some civilians have friends who don't like bullies. Yes. Ma'am, Torres replied. Besides, Chun added quietly, 37 of our people are still missing because of the Korath. Maybe it's time we asked for them back. The Phantom's Edge raced through space toward the dying star, its advanced systems keeping it hidden from any watching sensors. In 6 hours, the Korath Syndicate was going to discover that human military forces had a very different approach to fighting than anything they had encountered before. In the ship's armory, 30 Marine soldiers began checking their weapons and armor. They had trained for operations like this, rescuing civilians from hostile forces in dangerous environments. But this would be the first time they fought aliens who had attacked human colonists. They were looking forward to it. The dying star filled the view screen with angry red light. Around it, clouds of gas and particles drifted in space like crimson fog. The UE's Phantom's Edge moved carefully through this cosmic mist, its sensors working to map the area ahead. Entering the outer gas cloud now, reported Navigator Johnson. Visibility is dropping fast. This stuff is thick. Captain Chen watched the tactical display as red dots appeared, the Korath fleet. 5 large ships surrounded the research station like predators around wounded prey. Several smaller vessels moved back and forth, probably transferring stolen goods and prisoners. They have no idea we're here, said Commander Williams quietly. Their sensors can't see through this interference. But ours can, Chan replied with satisfaction. The human sensor technology was based on different principles than most alien systems. Where others use simple electromagnetic scanning, human sensors combine multiple detection methods that worked even in environments like this. Captain, called Communications Officer Martinez. I'm picking up Korath transmissions. They're discussing their timeline. Sounds like they plan to finish loading prisoners and cargo in 4 hours, then jump to hyperspace. Chun nodded. Lieutenant Commander Torres, are your Marines ready? Torres stood at the tactical station, studying the enemy positions. We've been ready for an hour, Captain. My people are excited about this mission. He pointed at the display. We've identified the best target points. The command ship here, the 2 vessels holding prisoners here, and the station itself. What about the other Korath ships? Once we take out their command ship and rescue the prisoners, the others will probably run. Pirates don't like fair fights. Torres smiled grimly. And this won't even be a fair fight. It'll be 30 human marines against surprise pirates who can't see us coming. Sir, Johnson called out, we're approaching the densest part of the gas cloud. This would be perfect cover for deploying the assault teams. Chun studied the tactical situation. The gas cloud was so thick here that even their advanced sensors had trouble seeing all the way through it. But that same cloud would hide their approach completely. Mr. Torres, begin deployment. Yes, ma'am. Torres activated his communicator. All Marines, this is Torres. Operation Rescue is a go. Alpha, Beta, and Charlie teams to the drop pod base. We launch in 15 minutes. Throughout the ship, 30 soldiers moved quickly to their positions. Each Marine wore powered armor designed for combat in extreme environments. The armor was black and gray, covered with sensors and weapon systems. It could protect them in vacuum, underwater, or in toxic atmospheres. Most importantly, it had advanced sensor systems that could see through interference that blinded most aliens. Sergeant Elena Vasquez led Alpha Team as they climbed into their drop pod. The pod was a small spacecraft designed to carry 4 Marines directly to a target. It had thick armor, stealth systems, and enough firepower to fight its way through enemy defenses. Remember the mission, Vasquez told her 3 soldiers as they checked their weapons. Rescue the civilians first, eliminate hostile forces second. These pirates have been hitting our colonies for 2 years. Time to send a message. Sergeant, asked Private Chang, the youngest member of the team. What if the aliens we're rescuing are afraid of us? I mean, they might think we're just different pirates. Vasquez considered this. Then we'll have to show them we're different. Protect them, help them, get them to safety. Actions speak louder than words. In the pod next to them, Corporal Davis was briefing Beta Team on their target, the Korath command ship. Intelligence says Korath commanders usually stay on their bridges during operations like this. We take out their leadership, the whole fleet falls apart. What about their armor and weapons? Asked Private Rodriguez. Korath technology is designed for overwhelming firepower and intimidation. They rely on being bigger and stronger than their enemies. Davis checked his plasma rifle. But our armor is designed to fight in conditions that would kill them. And our weapons can punch through anything they have. Meanwhile, Charlie Team was preparing for the most dangerous mission, assaulting the research station itself. The Korath would be using the civilians as shields, making every shot critical. Non-lethal weapons only when civilians are present, instructed team leader Corporal Kim. But if you have a clear shot at pirates, take it. These people have been terrorized enough. On the bridge, Captain Chun watched the final preparations. The gas cloud swirled around them like a red ocean, hiding their ship completely from enemy sensors. Captain, Martinez reported, new Korath transmission. They're arguing about how many civilians to keep as slaves and how many to sell. They think the research scientists will bring high prices. Chun's expression grew cold. Mr. Torres, you may inform your Marines that prisoners are optional for Korath personnel. Understood, Captain. Drop pods are ready for launch, Johnson announced. All teams report ready status. Chun looked at the tactical display one more time. 8 drop pods would launch simultaneously, 2 for each major target. The pods would coast through the gas clouds, invisible to Korath sensors, until they were close enough to strike. This is what we trained for, Torres said over the Marine communications channel. The Korath think they're safe out here. They think no one cares about alien civilians. They think wrong. Launch when ready, Chun ordered. All teams, this is Torres. Go, go, go! 8 drop pods shot out of the Phantom's edge like deadly arrows. They disappeared immediately into the red haze, their stealth systems making them invisible, even to human sensors. Each pod carried 4 Marines toward their targets, moving silently through space. The pods were designed to coast most of the way to their targets, using minimal power to avoid detection. Inside, the Marines made final equipment checks and reviewed their mission plans. 2 minutes to target, Vasquez announced to Alpha Team. Remember, the civilians are probably terrified. Move fast, but don't scare them more than they already are. Sergeant, said Private Torres, no relation to the lieutenant commander. What if the Korath try to negotiate when they see us? Pirates don't negotiate, Vasquez replied. They understand strength. We show them strength. They back down or die. Either way, the civilians get rescued. The drop pods continued their silent approach through the crimson fog. The dying star's radiation and the thick gas clouds meant that the Korath had no idea death was approaching them. On the Korath command ship, Captain Gexmore was reviewing the cargo manifest. 23 Zelani civilians would bring excellent prices in the slave markets. Their technology was worth even more. This was turning out to be a very profitable raid. Captain, called his sensor officer, I'm getting some strange readings from the gas clouds. What kind of readings? Gexmore asked without much interest. He was more concerned with profit margins than sensor ghosts. I'm not sure, sir. The interference is too thick to get clear data. Probably just radiation from the star. Ignore it, Gexmore ordered. Focus on loading the cargo. I want to be out of this system in 3 hours. Neither he nor his crew had any idea that human Marines were now less than 60 seconds from reaching their targets. The Korath had made their reputation by attacking the weak and defenseless. They had never fought soldiers who were trained specifically to fight in impossible conditions. They were about to discover the difference between raiding civilians and fighting human Marines. 30 seconds to target, Torres announced over the communications channel. All teams, prepare for insertion. Show these pirates what happens when they threaten innocent people. The drop pods raced through the final stretch of gas cloud, their targeting systems locked onto the enemy ships. In 30 seconds, the Korath Syndicate was going to learn that their latest raid had just turned into their worst nightmare. The first drop pod hit the Korath command ship with the sound of metal tearing through metal. The impact sent vibrations throughout the hull, but Captain Gexmore barely looked up from his cargo reports. What was that? He growled at his crew. Unknown, Captain. Checking now, replied the sensor officer, his clawed hands working frantically at his controls. He never got a chance to finish his scan. 4 human Marines in black armor burst through the breach in the hull, their weapons already firing. The bridge crew of the Korath command ship had been in the middle of counting their profits. Now they were fighting for their lives. Lieutenant Commander Torres led the assault personally, his plasma rifle cutting through Korath battle armor like it was paper. The pirates were tough and mean, but they had never faced human military technology designed for close-quarters combat in space. Bridge secured, Torres reported over his communicator. Enemy command staff eliminated. At the same time, Sergeant Vasquez and Alpha Team were breaching the hull of the first prisoner transport. The Korath guards inside were caught completely by surprise. They had been discussing which of the Zelani prisoners would bring the highest prices when their ship suddenly shook from an impact. What's happening? Shouted the guard captain, a massive Korath with cybernetic implants covering half his face. His question was answered when a section of the wall exploded inward, and 4 figures in advanced armor stepped through the smoke. The human Marines moved with deadly precision, their weapons targeting any Korath who held a weapon. Drop your weapons and step away from the prisoners, Vasquez ordered in translated Korath. The guard captain laughed and raised his energy rifle. You think 4 soldiers can take my entire ship? He never finished the sentence. Vasquez's plasma bolt hit him center mass, and his armor simply vanished in a flash of superheated gas. The other guards looked at their captain's remains, then at the human soldiers whose weapons were already targeting them. They dropped their weapons. "Smart choice," Vasquez said. She switched to her suit's translator for Zelani. "You are safe now. We are here to rescue you." The Zelani prisoners huddled in their cages, terrified. Dr. Kelena, who had survived the initial attack on the research station, stared at the human soldiers in amazement. Who are you?" she whispered. "United Earth Marines," Vasquez replied, "already working to unlock the prison cages. We received your distress call." Beta Team was simultaneously hitting the second prisoner transport. Corporal Davis and his soldiers moved through the ship like ghosts, their advanced sensors allowing them to see through the smoke and darkness that the Korath were using for cover. "Contact left," called Private Rodriguez as he spotted two Korath guards trying to reach their prisoners. His rifle fired twice, and both guards fell. "Prisoners located," Davis reported. 17 Zelani civilians, all alive. Beginning extraction. But it was Charlie Team that faced the most dangerous situation. They had landed directly on the research station, where the Korath had taken defensive positions among the captured. Scientists, Corporal Kim and her 3 Marines moved carefully through the damaged corridors of Meridian's Edge. Station's life support was failing, and toxic gas from damaged systems made the air dangerous to breathe. For the Korath, this meant they had to wear breathing masks that limited their vision. For the human Marines, whose armor had complete environmental protection, it was just another day at the office. "Movement ahead," whispered Private Chang. His suit's sensors could detect body heat through the toxic fog. 3 Korath, using Zelani civilians as shields. Kim studied the tactical display on her visor. The enemy soldiers were holding Dr. Veshai and 2 other researchers, using them as human shields while they tried to reach an escape pod. "I have shots on 2 of them," reported Private Torres from his position. "Negative. Too risky with civilians in the line of fire." Kim thought quickly. "Chow, you and Williams circle left. Torres, you're with me. We go right. When I give the signal, we all move at once." The Marines split up, moving silently through the damaged station. Their armor's stealth systems made them nearly invisible, and their boots made no sound on the metal floors. "This is Kim," she whispered into her communicator. "All positions ready?" "Ready," came 3 quiet replies. "Execute." 4 Marines moved simultaneously from different directions. The Korath guards, already nervous about the reports of their ships being attacked, suddenly found themselves surrounded by soldiers who seemed to appear from nowhere. "Surrender now, and you will live," Kim announced in Korath. The lead pirate, a scarred veteran with metal implants in his skull, snarled and pressed his weapon against Dr. Vesha's head. "Back off or the alien dies." Kim's response was immediate and precise. Her rifle fired a single shot that hit the pirate's weapon, destroying it without harming the civilian. In the same instant, her 3 team members eliminated the other 2 guards with perfect accuracy. Dr. Vesha collapsed to his knees, shaking. Are you real? Are you actually here?" "We're real," Kim said gently, helping the elderly scientist to his feet. "United Earth Marines, we got your message." While the Marines were securing the prisoners and eliminating guards, Captain Chun was preparing for the next phase of the operation. The Phantom's Edge moved through the gas clouds toward the main Korath fleet. "All Marine teams, report successful insertion," announced Lieutenant Commander Torres from his position on the captured command ship. "We have control of the enemy flagship and both prisoner transports. Charlie Team has secured the research station." "Excellent," Chun replied. What about the remaining Korath vessels? They're starting to realize something's wrong. 2 of the escort ships are trying to reach the command vessel to investigate. Time to make our presence known. Chun turned to her weapons officer. Mr. Patterson, target the nearest Korath escort. Let's introduce ourselves properly. The Phantom's edge emerged from the red gas clouds like a predator revealing itself. Its advanced targeting systems locked onto the first Korath escort ship, and its main weapons fired. The enemy vessel simply disappeared. One moment it was there. The next it was an expanding cloud of debris and energy. The human weapons technology was so far advanced that the Korath armor might as well have been made of paper. Holy, whispered someone on the bridge, on the remaining Korath ships. Alarms began wailing. The pirates had gone from confident raiders to confused victims in less than 20 minutes. Unknown vessel, called the captain of the second escort ship over the communications channel. Identify yourself. What do you want? This is Captain Sarah Chun of the United Earthship Phantom's Edge, Chun replied calmly. You are attacking civilians under the protection of Earth. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. Earth? The Korath captain sounded confused. We don't know any Earth. We claim salvage rights on this station. You claim nothing, Chun said coldly. You attacked a peaceful research station and kidnapped civilians. You have violated interstellar law and attacked vessels under Earth's protection. There was a long pause. Then, we don't want trouble with Earth. We'll leave the system. Too late for that, Chun replied. You will surrender your vessels and release all prisoners immediately. You have 60 seconds to comply. We still outnumber you. The Korath captain shouted, trying to sound brave. Chun looked at her tactical display. 3 Korath ships remained operational, but her marines had already captured the command vessel and both prisoner transports. The enemy was surrounded and confused. Mr. Patterson, she said quietly, destroy escort ship number 2. Another blast of human weapons fire, and another Korath vessel became space debris. 40 seconds, Chun announced calmly. The remaining Korath ships began emergency maneuvers, trying to escape. But they were moving through the same gas clouds that had hidden the human approach. Their sensors couldn't penetrate the interference, and they were essentially flying blind. Captain, reported Martinez. The last 2 escort ships are trying to jump to hyperspace. Stop them, Chun ordered. Patterson's fingers danced over his controls, and the ship's weapons reached out through the cosmic fog to touch the fleeing pirates. Both ships exploded before they could escape Dot in the sudden silence that followed. Chen activated the general communications channel. This is Captain Chun to all surviving Korath personnel. Your fleet has been eliminated. Your command ship is under our control. You have no escape. Surrender now or join your friends in space. One by one, the remaining Korath on various ships and the research station began laying down their weapons. The battle was over. It had lasted less than 30 minutes. Dr. Veshai sat in the medical bay of the research station, watching as human marines worked to repair the damaged life support systems. His hands still shook when he thought about how close they had all come to death or slavery. The atmospheric processors are working again, reported Corporal Kim as she finished connecting new power cables. You should have full life support in about 20 minutes. Thank you, Vesha said quietly. He looked at the human soldier's armor, so different from anything he had ever seen. I still cannot believe you came. No one ever responds to distress calls this far from civilization. Kim removed her helmet, revealing a young woman's face with kind but tired eyes. We're not like most people, I guess. When someone asks for help, we try to help. But why? You don't know us. We're not your allies. Your people could have been killed coming here. Kim considered this as she packed her tools. My grandfather used to tell me that the measure of a person isn't what they do when someone's watching, or when they'll get something in return. It's what they do when no one will ever know, when there's no reward except knowing you did the right thing. Across the station, Sergeant Vasquez was helping Dr. Kelena examine the rescued Zilani. All 23 civilians had survived, though several needed medical treatment. "Your technology," Dr. Kelena observed as she watched Vasquez's medical scanner work. "It's so different from ours. More compact, I think. Efficient. We've had to learn to make things that work in bad situations," Vasquez explained. "When you're fighting in space or in toxic environments, your equipment has to be reliable." "Fighting," Dr. Kelena repeated softly. "Your entire species seems designed for combat. It's frightening." Vasquez looked up from the medical scanner. "I can understand why you'd think that. But we don't fight because we like it. We fight because sometimes bad people hurt good people, and someone has to stop them. The Korath are very powerful. They have attacked many worlds. No one has ever defeated them so completely. The Korath are bullies," Vasquez said firmly. "They pick on people who can't fight back. But when they meet someone who can fight back, they fall apart pretty quickly." On the bridge of the captured Korath command ship, Lieutenant Commander Torres was reviewing the enemy's computer files. What he found made him angry. "Captain Chun," he called over the communications channel. "You need to see this. I'm sending data to your ship now." On the Phantom's edge, Chun studied the information that appeared on her screens. Files full of raid reports, slave market prices, and most importantly, the locations of other Korath bases. "How many human colonists are they holding?" she asked. "At least 57 from recent raids," Torres replied. "But there are probably more in their main base. And Captain, they have plans for more attacks. 3 human colonies are on their target list." Chun's expression grew cold. "Send all that data to Fleet Command. The Korath Syndicate just became a priority target." "Yes, ma'am." "What about the prisoners we captured here?" Chun thought about this. They had captured about 30 Korath pirates alive. Under normal military law, they would be processed as prisoners of war. But these were criminals who had attacked civilians. "We'll turn them over to Zilani authorities," she decided. "Let their victims decide what justice looks like." Several hours later, the emergency repairs were complete. The research station was safe, the Zilani civilians were free, and the Korath fleet was either destroyed or captured. Captain Chun stood in the station's main conference room, meeting with Dr. Veshai. "Your ship saved our lives," the elderly scientist said. "All of our lives. How can we possibly repay you?" "You don't need to repay us," Chun replied. "But if you want to help, you could share information about Korath operations in this sector. We're going to make sure they don't attack anyone else." Veshai nodded enthusiastically. "Of course. We have detailed scans of their ships, their technology, their communication methods. Everything is yours." "Thank you. And Doctor," Chun paused, "I know humans probably seem frightening to you. We're good at violence. But I want you to understand something. We're not violent because we enjoy it. We're good at violence because sometimes it's necessary to protect people who can't protect themselves." "I'm beginning to understand that," Veshai said slowly. "When your Marines first appeared, I was terrified. They looked like warriors from ancient stories. But then I watched how carefully they worked to avoid hurting any of us. How they risked their own lives to save ours. I realized that their strength was being used to protect us, not threaten us." "That's exactly right," Chun said. "Captain," Dr. Veshai continued, "I will be writing a detailed report about this incident for the Galactic Research Council. Many species in our region believe that humans are dangerous primitives who should be avoided. After today, I think that opinion will change." "What will you tell them?" Chun asked. Veshai thought for a long moment. I will tell them that humans are indeed dangerous. Very dangerous. But they are dangerous to those who prey on the innocent. They are dangerous to those who attack the weak. For peaceful people who just want to live their lives and pursue knowledge. Humans are the best friends we could possibly have. Chun smiled. I hope other people see it that way. They will, Veshai said confidently. Word spreads quickly among research communities. Soon everyone will know that when the Zelani called for rescue, human marines emerged from the haze like avenging angels. 2 days later, the Phantom's Edge was ready to leave the system. The research station was fully repaired and operational. The Zelani had shared all their intelligence about Korath operations. The captured pirates had been transferred to Zelani authorities. Captain, called Communications Officer Martinez, we're receiving a message from Fleet Command. They want us to investigate 3 more Korath bases in this sector. Plot a course for the nearest base, Chan ordered. Let's go collect our missing colonists. Ma'am, Torres added, the Marines are requesting permission to recruit additional personnel for anti-piracy operations. Word about our success here has spread through the military networks. Everyone wants to volunteer for missions like this. Chun nodded. Approved. We're gonna be busy for a while. As the Phantom's Edge prepared to leave, Dr. Veshai broadcast one final message. To any vessel receiving this transmission, know that the human ship UE's Phantom's Edge saved 23 innocent lives today. They asked for nothing in return. They risked everything to help people they had never met. If you encounter human military forces, remember this. They are not conquerors or invaders. They are protectors of the innocent and enemies of those who prey on the weak. The message was picked up by dozens of ships across the sector. Within hours, it was being transmitted across the galaxy. The story spread from research station to trading post, from military command to civilian colony. The galaxy was learning something new about humanity. Yes, humans were dangerous. Yes, they were excellent warriors. But they used their strength to protect others, not to conquer them. They emerged from the cosmic haze not as raiders, but as rescues. The Korath Syndicate, meanwhile, was issuing new orders to all their ships. Avoid human space. Avoid human colonies. And if you see a human military vessel, run. The message was simple. Humans didn't start fights, but they finished them. As the Phantom's Edge disappeared into hyperspace. Heading for the next Korath base, Captain Chun made a note in her log. Mission successful. Civilians rescued, pirates eliminated, intelligence gathered. Ready for next assignment. She didn't mention in the official log that this mission had probably changed how the galaxy viewed humanity. That wasn't her job to worry about. Her job was simpler. When innocent people called for help, human marines would emerge from the haze. Always, somewhere in the darkness between stars. 57 human colonists held in Korath slave camps were about to discover that their people had not forgotten them. Help was coming, carried by soldiers who believed that no one should suffer alone. No cry for help should go unanswered. The haze was clearing, and humanity was stepping into the light.